Ladies and gentlemen, from the West Bank of the Flats, it's your boy LG with ClevelandTalkSports.com, host. Sitting with him today is Miss Corinne Charske. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it's your boy LG with Cleveland Sports 360.
Hey, welcome back to Cleveland Sports 360, taking place live from the West Bank of the Flats once again. It's a beautiful sunny Monday after the weather we had yesterday. It was kind of, gray, rainy. Probably rained on people even more after the Browns lost that game out in Oakland yesterday. What are we going to do, ladies and gentlemen? The Cleveland Browns this year plain outright suck, man. I mean, you can't beat around the bush too much. We got a new coach. We got a new offense. We got a few new players. And what we really need is somebody to catch the ball that Colt McCoy gets a little astray with. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Cleveland Browns need cheerleaders. We have Corinne Charske here. She's from the Facebook page, works with Al Raditz. We had Al on a number of weeks ago. We couldn't believe what a controversial topic it was. The Cleveland Browns need cheerleaders. Corey has been kind enough to come down to the studio this evening with us, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what she's been working on in the background. She's even been in contact with people at the Cleveland Browns. Welcome to the Cleveland Sports 360 show, Corey. How are you this evening?
I'm wonderful. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for coming down. I mean, tell us a little bit. What do you do? I mean, you're a choreographer. You're a coach. Fill us in a little bit. Where's your background in cheerleading come from?
Well, I began dancing at the age of 3. My parents put me in tap, jazz, ballet, gymnastics, hip-hop. I probably took a salsa class or something like that along the lines down the road. And I didn't start cheering until end of 4th grade, beginning of 5th, and that was just basketball cheerleading. It wasn't until high school that I got into football cheerleading and completely fell in love with it. Fell in love with the game, the fans, the spirit. Nothing like being on the field under the lights, really getting the crowd riled up. So I guess I just can't retire the Poms at the age of 28, almost 29.
So, ladies and gentlemen, just to give you a quick reminder, there's a cause, there's a beautiful Facebook page. It's got some great pictures of some great cheerleading cause, some squads all the way around the country. The Cleveland Browns are only one of 3 teams in the NFL that don't have cheerleaders. There's 32 teams together in the NFL, and, do the math, that means 29 teams have cheerleaders. I could be off a little bit, maybe 28 have cheerleaders, but the number to call to the Cleveland Sports 360 show tonight with your comments and your questions is 216-672-4300. Again, that number is 216-672-4300. Feel free. The phone lines will be open in just a few minutes. Feel free to call in and blast Corey with a few of your questions. Now, Corey, all week long, I do a little bit of promotion and try to prepare people for what's going on the next Cleveland Sports 360 show. As you know, we're here every Monday night from 6 to 7 at the beautiful Cleveland Talk Sports studios. Now, one thing I do is I put out some promotional pieces about the Cleveland Browns needing cheerleaders, and I've been getting a lot of flashback and feedback. People wanting to know, shouldn't the Browns get players before we get cheerleaders? Now, what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, we do have players, as far as how
players that can play the game, Corey.
True story. I don't know if I actually have enough knowledge on that subject to speak with, I don't know. Let me put it this way. I recently visited with the Detroit Pride Cheerleaders, and they are an unofficial professional cheerleading squad for the Detroit Lions.
Which, by the way, they have a beautiful calendar coming out. I happened to go on the Detroit Pride website because the lady was kind enough to call us when we had Al down here doing the Cleveland Browns Need Cheerleaders show. And, they have a lovely group of ladies in Detroit. How long did it take them to put that squad together?
I believe they're in their 2nd year now, and I was there for the calendar release party. I met all the girls on the team as well as the directors. Amazing experience, but what I was getting at as far as the talent of the team versus having cheerleaders or not, and the timing corresponding with that would be last year Detroit's team didn't play as well as they would have liked, and this year the guys are really hitting it hard, and they've got a great season.
Do you think that these beautiful cheerleaders being on the sidelines helped Detroit win and, start out at 5-0? Do you attribute that to cheerleaders?
Part of me wants to believe that the guys want to play harder when there are pretty girls watching them and helping the fans cheer them on. So, more spirit, more reason to play harder, win the games, and give us a better rep at least.
Kenyon, have you seen the Detroit Pride cheerleaders calendar yet?
Haven't seen it yet. Did you bring one in?
I do not have one with me. I'm sorry.
Corey, we're going to have to get Kenyon one of those calendars. You're going to have to call your friend in Detroit and see what it's going to take to send Cleveland Talk Sports Studios. I mean, nothing would look nicer on the wall here, Kenyon.
The Cleveland
Except the Browns calendar.
Right.
I tell you what, the cheerleaders, and I know there's a lot of people right now that's trying to get Cleveland Browns cheerleaders. I think one of the first things that they should do is come up with a Cleveland Browns cheerleaders calendar. Present that to the Cleveland Browns organization and see what happens.
I strongly disagree. I think that's just one aspect of having a professional cheerleading squad. As far as Browns go, I think they'd much more prefer a more family-friendly approach and look at it in more of the talent aspect and having these girls coming out of high school in college or around professional level and give them another level of dance and cheerleading to go to, and then just have that be one of the perks if that's what they so choose to do, along with the actual sport of dance and cheer. I don't want it, in my opinion, I should say, I don't want it to be looked at as some sort of a sex sells thing, because there's so much more to it than that with what girls do.
Yeah,
do you think that the Detroit calendar is strictly a sex sells type of a thing, Corinne? I thought it was a beautiful array of ladies put together. I didn't see anything that was distasteful in that calendar. Did you?
Not at all. Not at all. I think it was very tastefully done. They had an amazing photographer, professional photographer, and salon working with them. But they've established themselves professionally as dancers and cheerleaders first, so that they have the background to go and say, okay, now we're going to do a calendar because you've seen what our talents are and where we're coming from with this. And it's just another, it's also a fundraising aspect too, because the girls are all self-funded with sponsors and such.
So basically they put the calendar together to raise some funds to help support the cheerleading squad. Is that where you're coming from with that?
Yes, absolutely. And it's a great way of helping to advertise their sponsors as well.
Now, Corinne, do you have a squad of ladies that would be willing to come out here and cheer for the Cleveland Browns? I mean, come on. I mean, the weather here is absolutely terrible after, October ends and football goes into January pretty much. You never know what the temperature is going to be. Did you ever consider who are these ladies that want to do something like this? Do you have any in your repertoire of everybody you put together before? Are you working on anybody? What's going on with that?
I don't have anyone specifically picked out at this time. There would be an official tryout thing organized so that everyone would have a fair chance to come and prepare themselves for what would be required of them. However, I have done somewhat semi-pro organization of a dance team cheerleading squad for football, so I understand how it works, and having spent the time with the Detroit Pride, I see it at the other level, and I'm more than willing and as prepared as I can be at this point to go ahead with it. We just, we need the support of the actual Browns organization, and obviously there would need to be funds and stuff to go with that.
Now, when you talk about putting a squad of ladies together, what would you do? Like, how do you even start out with something like that? Where do you get these girls?
It's a lot of it's word of mouth, contacting dance studios, anywhere from high schools to colleges, and just where the talent comes from, and internet always helps too to get the word out there and just let them know where and when and what's going to be needed of them, and just cross your fingers that everybody shows up and you get a great group together.
So basically, you're going to have to start from the ground up building a squad of cheerleaders. You don't have anybody ready right now, huh?
I can't say that I do. No, it would have to be a start from scratch audition process.
Well, you know what you ought to do, and we talked to Al Raditz about this, Kenyon and I. We were thinking about, every Sunday we broadcast live at Applebee's, 14020 Cedar Road. That's in beautiful University Heights. And Al thought it would be a good idea, get some girls in some Cleveland Brown cheerleading uniforms, and why don't you bring them on up to Applebee's, and we could have a little cheerleading competition going on, or cheer with the game. We host one of the best NFL roundtables. It's all of us from the Cleveland Talk Sports studio. I'm there from Cleveland Sports 360. Kenyon Johnson, Errol Porter, and the beautiful Kenya Huff is there from the Unsportsmanlike Conduct show that airs 3 days a week here. We have, if he shows up and his car's not broke down, E-Love shows up once in a while from Fired Up. I mean, why don't you bring a group of ladies up there and show people what some of these cheerleaders are all about? I mean, is that a possibility?
I don't think it's that easy because there's so much more involved in preparing a dance team or a cheerleading squad for performances. I mean, first of all, you have to get the girls together, you have to run practices, you have to set up formations for the routines, make sure everybody has it memorized.
Well, you know, there's not a whole lot of room. Don't forget, this is Applebee's, you know, and you know, there's not really a wide open space where we can have a performance. But just to have a few young ladies walking around in some Cleveland Browns type of uniforms is what Al wasn't Al? What was Al talking about, Kenyon? Something of that nature.
Yeah, I've corresponded with Al in regards to that. He does want the ladies out there that are for Browns having cheerleaders to dress up and wear, you know, sort of what they would think tasteful kind of uniform that they would like to see with the Browns, and just support the idea so that, you know, once it comes to fruition, you know, we know that the fan base is out there already, and it's well supported, and maybe it even helps spread the word for audition's sake when the time comes to have that happen.
Well, don't get us wrong. Cleveland Talk Sports and Cleveland Sports 360 is all about getting the Browns cheerleaders. I think we have a call coming in. Kenyon, put them through. Hello, caller?
Yes, sir. How are you?
We're very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Hey, what's your thought about the Cleveland Browns needing cheerleaders?
Well, my thought is they've needed them for a long time. And wasn't there a time when they did have cheerleaders?
Yes, it was, I'd say, somewhat unofficial as well then. It was late 60s, early 70s. There are a few newspaper articles out there and pictures that have surfaced in the last year or so. It was mostly high school-aged girls, and it was poorly run, so it kind of fell apart in the long run. And I guess we could say we've been working on trying to get it back ever since. So that's why we need the support.
My question is, rumor has it that there was a cheerleading squad, and at one time that the director or somebody passed away. Is there any truth to that? And once that happened, they just decided that was not going to be the way the Cleveland Browns wanted to do, I guess, anything to do with cheerleaders.
What year was this where the Browns had cheerleaders, Corey? You have any idea?
Don't remember specifically, but I know that the dates were somewhere between the late 60s and early 70s, 69, 74, something like that.
I heard a little bit of rumor about Art Modell was a hound chasing some of these women, and it kind of upset Patricia Modell. And, of course, Pat Modell just passed away last week. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I did.
You know, Art lost his wife, and a lot of people in Cleveland were hoping Art would have went first after what he pulled with the Browns. But, you know, his wife, a lot of people don't know, Pat Modell was a giant television star. Did you know that?
I did read about it.
There's only one female actor that did more television shows than Pat Modell, and that was Lucille Ball, which happened to be a very good friend of Pat Modell. So really the world lost a talented lady. Where condolences goes out to the Modell family, and we still, you know, we hold a grudge against Art Modell, but Pat Modell just went along for the ride. There's not much you can say there. So, caller, you got any more questions you'd like to ask Corinne?
Well, I'd like to make a comment.
Certainly.
I think the way she's going about it is a classy way to do things.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, with the knuckleheads that run this organization, maybe that's, you know, they talk a good game as far as family oriented. You know, they want people to be family. What's the word I'm looking for?
Friendly?
Family friendly. And for some reason, I guess they're naive enough to think that cheerleaders are nothing but a bunch of loose women. I'm not sure what the problem is here. But getting back to your points as far as the dance routines and everything else, a lot of work goes into this. Am I wrong?
You're very right. It's a lot of hard work, and you got to make sure that everybody shows up and pulls their own weight, because if you're even one girl short, you can't do a full routine. Just like if you only got 8 guys on the field, you can't exactly run a proper play either. So.
Right. Well, I know for a fact that guy sitting next to you in LG is one hell of a cheerleader.
Hey, let me ask you something, caller. Do you think having cheerleaders will help the Cleveland Browns play better football?
I think anything will help the Cleveland Browns.
What do you think about Colt McCoy's performance yesterday? Do you think Colt McCoy's the quarterback that's going to lead the Browns into the future?
I think Colt McCoy is Tim Couch all over again.
Meaning what?
Meaning, I think the Browns have a throwaway quarterback. Let's beat the hell out of this guy until we discover we need an offensive line.
That's kind of what I'm seeing, too. You don't have an offensive line that can protect McCoy. And it's the same thing that happened to Tim Couch, although McCoy is no Couch. Hey, we're going to take a break. Caller, thanks for calling in. We're here every week. Remember the number to call is 216-672-4300. Corinne Charske here. She's working on the cause, bringing cheerleaders to the Cleveland Browns with Al Raditz. We're going to get into a little bit more of that right after this break. Hey, let me remind you, people, there's no time like the present to start planning your retirement, There's a lady sitting at Raymond James Financial's facility, Vicki Manarino, who would be willing to sit down with anybody that wants to give her a call to help you put a portfolio together to protect your financial future. Vicki Manarino's number is 440-516-7550, or you can reach Vicki Manarino toll-free at 888-289-7550. I think we got a Cleveland Browns cheerleader that just showed up in the studio now. Who knows? It's the beautiful Kenya Huff. She's back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have her do a few cheers. Maybe she has to go. Who knows? We're going to be back in a few minutes to the Cleveland Sports 360 show. Remember, go to clevelandsports360.com, your interactive sports website where you can click on the articles, click on the titles, and leave your own replies to each and every article Cleveland Sports 360 writes. We'll be back with Corinne Charske in just a few moments. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cleveland Sports 360 show, coming at you live each and every Monday from 6 till 7 p.m. on the beautiful west banks of the Cuyahoga River down here in the flats at the Cleveland Talk Sports studio. We're back live with Corinne Charske, who's behind the cause to try to bring the Cleveland Browns cheerleaders. You know, Corinne, I just can't help but to mention the fact that I heard Pat Shurmur at his news conference this afternoon, and he was asked the question if they were going to trade Peyton Hillis or not. And first, Shurmur's coming on. He's going, you know, I don't really want to talk about trades. I'm not here to talk about trades. Really, we're not going to trade Hillis. He's not on the trading blocks. I mean, what do you think of Hillis as your favorite player, or is he one of your all-time favorite Cleveland Browns? What's your opinion of Peyton Hillis?
I'm a big fan. I know he's played hard for sure. Not sure why he's not playing recently, unless it has to do with recent injuries or anything like that, and them trying to save his talents for, I don't know, better parts of the game. I'm not sure, because I'm not sure what their strategy is at this point. But from what I've heard, and I have friends who know him personally, he's a great guy, and he's got a good spirit, and he wants to play hard until he can't play anymore. So.
Well, one thing that, you know, he might be trying to save his talents because of the contract talk. I mean, you know, a lot of people are thinking Hillis held out with this sore throat because of a contract. Now, if you had a cheerleading squad, how many members would it consist of?
My dream would be to start with about 12, get a real good ground set, and then get up into the bigger numbers like the DCC. I think they have like 48 or so, 36 or 48. But I would definitely want to start with a smaller group just to get solid, so we have something to build on.
So let's say you had 12 members of this cheerleading squad, and then, you know, 2 of them called in sick for your big game. I mean, would that be detrimental to the rest of the squad?
Not necessarily detrimental. That's what practices are there for. So hopefully it would be early enough of notice that we could at least, even if it was a 15-minute before the game thing, get our heads together, put our game faces on, adjust formations or routines accordingly, and do our best.
So that's the problem, you know, when you have a cheerleading squad and you put this whole squad together, and, you know, it's not going to really hurt you that bad if 2 members called in sick with a sore throat. But what happened to the Cleveland Browns was they were depending on Peyton Hillis to show up and play in a football game. I mean, that's old news now. He had a sore throat, strep throat, and he decided, bad advice from his agent, to leave. But when you're a football team, you know, unlike a cheerleading squad where 2 members being absent, you're not going to miss. When you miss a star running back like Peyton Hillis, who can help you win when he's playing at his fullest, I think a little bit of animosity formed in the locker room towards him, whether players are going to admit that or not. Especially the next week, you got a star center like Alex Mack, who still hasn't missed a snap as a Cleveland Brown, you know, having an appendicitis attack throughout the entire game when the Browns played the Titans, man. So, you know, 1 week a guy misses with a sore throat. It's going to be interesting when the trade deadline comes tomorrow, and if the Browns do decide to make a move on Hillis after Shurmur came out today and said, no, we're not interested in trading Hillis.
We know, LG, don't mean to interrupt you, but we know one team that picked up a nice wide receiver. The St. Louis Rams ended up getting Brandon Lloyd for a 6th-round pick. And you telling me the Cleveland Browns didn't need him?
Well, you know what? Unless these guys, you know what really is disappointing to me is what's Mike Holmgren doing through all of this. I know he's kind of
cashing them checks.
Yeah, he's kind of pulled himself back a little bit away from the table, and he's letting Shurmur do his thing. And have you talked to Mike Holmgren at all, the president of the Cleveland Browns, about anything?
I have not spoken to anyone at the Browns organization yet, personally, myself. I'm sure that some people have been in touch with them to let them know that this is something we want to do. To speak specifically on it, I can't at this time.
So you have been in no contact with anybody at the Cleveland Browns?
I personally haven't.
But you work with people who have, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think we have another caller coming in, Corinne. Hello, caller. You there?
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. This is Joe out in Las Vegas.
What's going on, Joe?
Hey, who just made that comment? Was that Kenyon that made that comment about Brandon Lloyd?
That was Kenyon, right.
Well, everybody's sitting here bad-mouthing. Well, I won't say bad-mouthing, but, Colt McCoy's already proven that he can get the job done when a guy's open downfield. I've been saying it for the last 2 years. McCoy is the answer. You can't even put him in the same sentence as a Tim Couch. He led the NCAA at Texas in passing yards, set records, and like I said, he's already proven when a guy's open downfield, he hits the long ball.
Joe, let me stop you just for one. Joe, hold on 1 second. Let me ask you a question. You're comparing college to the pros. Do you know how much faster the game is when you get into the NFL compared to college? Joe?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, there's a question for you.
It's a different game, but like I said, in the last 2 years, he showed it against the Jets last year on several plays where he hit wide open guys downfield.
Okay, so what do you think's going on this year?
I think we don't have a guy that can get open downfield.
So you think
he's got plenty of time. As banged up as our offensive line has been, he gets plenty of protection. But if you can't get a guy open downfield, our offensive line can't hold these guys off all day.
Well, Joe, I got a question for you. This is Kenyon in the back on the wheels of steel here. Now, you saying Colt McCoy is the guy. That's what you're saying.
I believe so.
Okay, the Cleveland Browns have 2 number 1 picks in the next year's draft. Would you give up those 2 picks to get Andrew Luck?
I wouldn't give up the picks to get. Now, who are you saying to get who?
Andrew Luck, the kid from Stanford.
No. I'm sorry, no.
Yes, you would. You're lying to yourself, Joe. You definitely would get Andrew Luck.
And let me tell you why I wouldn't give him up to get Andrew Luck. Number one, we got a pretty damn good backup in Seneca Wallace. Number two, we got another good backup. If needs be, Josh Cribbs can play quarterback. But the thing is, until you get a burner, until you get receivers who can consistently make plays downfield, that's what's going to define a quarterback's career. And we don't have them.
That's one thing. If you go back to the days when Bernie Kosar was throwing to the Browns, and you think about it, man, he had Ozzie Newsome out there, he had Reggie Rucker out there, he had Dave Logan out there. Who else was out there, man? Was Dave Logan with Sipe?
No, Dave Logan and Reggie Rucker with Sipe. You're dating yourself, man. You're talking about Webster Slaughter and Reggie Langhorne. He did have Ozzie Newsome, though.
Right, I'm mixing them up with Brian Sipe and Bernie Kosar.
Logan didn't have speed, but he could get open.
Well, Logan was 6'5", and he had hands that were about 22 inches long, man.
And Logan didn't play with linebackers and corners that run 4.2 and 4.3.
Right. I mean, the speed of the NFL game compared to college is, the speed is so fast now in the NFL. It's scary, man. 325-pound guys that run that fast. Unbelievable. So, Joe, what do you think the problem is? It's strictly a lack of having quality wide receivers. That's what you're attributing the Browns' problems to?
Well, right now, too, you got to remember our line's banged up, too.
What do you think with Shermer's play calling out there in Vegas?
I think it sucks. I think there's no difference between him and Eric Mancini.
Well, Joe, what I need you to do tonight, man, did you record the game? Joe?
No, I watched it yesterday.
Okay.
I had a chance to watch it because
when you go back, if you get a chance, watch the game, put your TV in super slow motion, and just watch. All our wide receivers are wide open, but you know what? He was playing against the tallest defensive line in the NFL, and he could not see them. Look at it, man. He's too short. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's in my opinion.
Great quarterbacks that played in the NFL that were too short.
Yeah, but Joe, the linemen and everybody else is much taller these days. I mean, let's not go back in years, but let's talk about now. This is now. I mean, the problem is, I believe one of the reasons Colt McCoy lasted till the third round of the NFL draft was strictly a height issue. Yes, he was the winningest quarterback in the college level, man. Nobody won more games than him down at Texas, but I do believe if he was, a number one draft pick, he certainly wouldn't be playing for the Cleveland Browns right now.
There's a pretty good quarterback.
Another thing that I'd like to bring up is Shermer.
Well, what about Shermer?
Shermer instituted a West Coast offense. Now, Kenyon, have you ever seen a West Coast offense that don't move the ball up and down the field?
What I'm seeing is, and I'm not going to blame everything on Colt McCoy, But Colt McCoy, they cannot move the ball up and down the field because he panics, man. As soon as he gets pressure, he panics. And that's that. How many times did you watch that game yesterday, Joe, and saw Colt McCoy could have threw the ball away, but he took the sack and lost
I agree with that.
You know,
I agree with that. He did panic quite a bit yesterday, but then again, like I said, we need playmakers, and what I see happening is
Joe, we're going to have to.
They don't utilize what we have on the team. They don't use cribs enough downfield. They don't use, they just have no innovation. Like I said, it reminds me of Mangini. It's like nothing ever changed.
Hey, Joe, we're going to have to take another break coming up here momentarily, but thanks for calling in. Let me tell you one more thing before you go, Joe. The only difference between Colt McCoy this year and Colt McCoy last year was during the offseason, Colt McCoy may have spent too much time at Brett Favre's house, man. That's what happened, man. Now, I'm surprised he's not leading the league in interceptions.
He will.
Man.
He keep playing like he played yesterday. He will.
The only thing he's not doing is leading the league in interceptions so far. Thanks for calling.
I just think if you get the guy some receivers that can get open, and I think if we can protect him a little better, then he's going to have a great career. But
all right, well, we got to go to break, Joe. We're coming back in a couple of minutes. More of the Cleveland Sports 360 show. We have Corinne Charske over here. We're talking Cleveland Browns football, and Cleveland Browns need cheerleaders. Hey, remember we were talking about financial planning? Every week when you turn on this show, you can't emphasize enough. If you're a young person and you don't put anything away for a rainy day, one day you're going to wake up and it's going to be pouring rain, and you're not going to have a pot to get any money out of. To help protect your financial future, give Vicky Manarino a call over at Raymond James. She's a nice lady. She'll sit down with you. She'll work with you. She'll get you through some kind of a thing. You don't have to be a millionaire to do this, but if you want to be a millionaire by the time it's time for retirement, you need somebody like Vicky Manarino. Give her a call, 440-516-7550, or call her toll-free, 888-289-7550. Vicky Manarino at Raymond James. We'll be right back with more of the Cleveland Sports 360 show and our lovely guest this evening, Corinne Charske.
to the experts.
We are the precious metal specialists. We pay the highest prices for gold, platinum, and silver, and we buy diamonds.
I got cash for my old broken jewelry and diamonds.
Goldworks is now paying cash for your electronics. Digital cameras, iPhones, Apple products, smartphones, and more. Bring them in today for a speedy appraisal. If we can't buy it, we'll dispose of it safely for free.
Goldworks, licensed, bonded, trusted. We treat everyone like family.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cleveland Sports 360 show with your host, LG, sitting here with the beautiful Corinne Charske from the issue of the Cleveland Browns Need Cheerleaders. She's been working a couple of years, or maybe a year or so, with Al Raditz. He's been really busting his hump. He put together a beautiful Facebook page. Al couldn't be here tonight. He's out with his youth football team is playing in the playoffs. Al gives a lot back to the community, but we have the beautiful Corinne Charske here. She has quite a bit of experience. Corinne, tell us a little bit more about what exactly it is that you do.
Well, professionally, I'm a full-time hairdresser. I work out in Menor at JCPenney Salon.
So we're never going to have to worry about having cheerleaders with messed up hair,
No, not at all, not at all. Even in
is there
an
anything
emergency.
you could do with mine or Kenyon's hair?
Oh, I could work miracles.
You know.
You get good massages, though, with the head? You know, when you do the hair, you got to wash it and massage it at the same time. Do you do all that?
Yeah, just don't push your luck, buddy.
No, but seriously, with the cheerleading, what do you have some experience? I mean, I personally was involved with a couple of things, trying to bring dance team members to a semi-pro football team. I believe you were behind that.
Yes.
What was your title there?
Coordinator,
Okay.
coach, choreographer. I wore all the hats. I was even on the team as well.
But virtually you started with zilch there, right? Absolutely no bodies, no dance team, no nothing.
Virtually
correct?
and realistically, I started with nothing. It was an idea, and I answered an ad for the position, and they told me I had to make it all happen by myself, more or less.
Now, when you were working with that, and I don't even remember the person's name. What was her name? Jennifer. I
Yes.
called her a lot of other different things one time, but that to me was one of the most ungrateful people I have ever met in my life. And we're not going to give out too many names. We're not going to give out the name of the team or anything like that. But you know, I wrote numerous articles to get some support for that dance team, and we had some fundraisers at different clubs, and we were pretty successful at getting dance team members to come out and audition for you. So take us through that whole process, how it works.
It starts out with more sort of a blueprint. You decide how many you'd like to have on the team. You have to come up with a budget of sort. I had to come up with money for uniforms. I had to call around and get sponsorship for fundraisers and donations of baskets to do like raffles. Audition the girls. I had to come up with a routine on my own. It was original work to popular music, and teach them the routine, go through the audition process with them. We held a fundraiser for the auditions in order to stir up popularity for this and for the football team, and just kind of hit the ground running from there. So the biggest thing was to actually get the budget fulfilled so that we could, be on the field and look as professional as we could.
So it took a lot of money and a lot of funds to get this team put together. It wasn't just get a bunch of women to come down to this tryout, and then, there was obviously a whole selection process you had to go through. And I'm sure that if it was for the Cleveland Browns rather than a semi-pro, whatever level you want to call that, semi-pro football team, the show up or the amount of people that would be interested would be phenomenal. Could you handle something like that?
Absolutely. I'd rather have too many than not enough. It makes the selection process a lot easier.
What if you get a lot of ugly women that show up? How do you deal with that? Because you know what? I was always wondering why there's no ugly women cheerleaders, man.
Well, you want to say you expect the girls to take care of themselves and have good hygiene and present themselves in a
there's
professional.
clean, ugly women out there too.
What's wrong with fat cheerleaders? We can't have a.
If you're as athletic as you need to be,
cheerleader?
if you're as athletic as you need to be for a dance, you're really not going to have that kind of a situation.
So how can a cheerleader lift up a 300-pound cheerleader and they, because you guys do flips and stuff and they stand on hands?
Yes.
Do you have any cheerleaders that are available to lift up a 300-pound cheerleader?
I can't say that I do.
Were you ever faced with that problem before?
No, because like I said, when you get to this level, you have enough athleticism and fit women that you don't have to go there. And there are
if you're never faced with the problem, you don't know if they can do it. Maybe there is some little girls out there that can lift some 300-pound ugly women up.
I mean, the girls are strong. Don't get me wrong, but there are the chosen few that have the heart and the spirit and the hometown pride or team pride that want to be a part of it. And you just handle it with kid gloves.
Let me just ask you something. And I was trying to tell Kenyon yesterday. You were in the semi-pro. Did you ever your team play against the team with the guy who had no legs? Did you ever see the guy that had no legs for the Chardon? What was the name of that football team? The Chardon Vikings? The Vikings?
Right.
Oh,
Bobby. What was his name, Kenyon?
Bobby No Legs Jackson.
No, I actually left the organization before the season actually started. I did meet a few members from the Vikings team that were very supportive of what I was doing for this particular team. It didn't work out. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, Bobby didn't have legs. And what did he want to play, LG?
Well, they told him he was never going to be the kicker on that team. I mean, I don't think he was going out to be the kicker, but I believe one time he wanted to play that arena football with Bernie Kosar's team, and I think somebody down there told him they wouldn't be able to see him over the walls that surround the arena. That was a problem. They were worried about him getting smashed.
She thinks we're joking. It's really a guy.
I'm not joking.
I believe you. I believe you.
no
But
legs.
you also have to be realistic when you're the person going out for the team.
This guy was a good football player. I'm not kidding you. I mean,
okay.
Randy Brewster from the.
He was a good ball player. I don't know about the foot part.
Yeah, he was a good ball player. He made a lot of tackles. He played defense, and Brewster had to face this guy when Brewster was still the big time. What do you call it? All semi-pro, all pro. Lineman that he was, he had to face that guy a couple of times. And, Brewster was actually nervous because he didn't know if he could hurt the guy or anything. Brewster's a pretty big guy. I mean, what's he go, 400 pounds? And, if he fell on the guy, he thought he would kill him. Well, Brew didn't have to worry once he faced the guy in the game. I mean, this guy was good. I'd be interested to know what happened to Bobby Martin. I'd love to get Bobby Martin to come down here and be on this Cleveland Sports 360 show. So you never get to see him when you were with the squad, huh?
No.
Yeah. So back to the women that were trying out for your team. You didn't ever even get no 300-pound ugly women there, huh?
No, and I really hate to put it like that because
no, just because they're heavy doesn't mean they're ugly. But there's some brutal looking women around the city of Cleveland. What would you do if they showed up and they want to be cheerleaders? And I mean, if they have the ability to do the job, is that basically what it boils down to?
If she's basically 300 pounds and she can do 8 consecutive backflips and a split,
look at
and
John
jump
Belushi.
up and down, she can do everything. What do you tell her?
I don't know because honestly, we're speaking hypothetically here, and
I know a 300-pound lady that can do 8 consecutive backflips.
Does she want to be a cheerleader, Kenyon?
Yes.
She's more than welcome to audition, but I wouldn't be the only one on the board tallying scores.
What would your score be?
I don't know. I haven't seen
Well, it all
it before.
depends on her ability. You heard her talking before, but basically, you get a whole board of people that review these tryouts. It's not just
it's
you.
a panel of judges,
not just you
it's
faced with
question
the
and
pressure.
answer. It's talent. There is some beauty aspect to it, and
Beauty, or is it all ability?
there's most of it is ability, but
Okay.
at the same time, you have to answer to the part of the stereotype, and that it is beautiful women, and
And that's the problem. I mean, there's probably a whole bunch of ugly women somewhere that would love to be cheerleaders.
But
And
they're pretty underneath their skin.
Right. It's all beauty on the inside.
I don't doubt that. I don't want to single anybody out, and I'm all
I'm not
for it.
singling anybody out either. But I mean, if I'm just saying. You notice in beauty contests, it's always beautiful women. You notice every cheerleading squad I've ever seen, even in high school. I mean, there's girls in high school that didn't have the looks that weren't allowed to be cheerleaders. I mean, you went to high school and you were a cheerleader, and you started in what, the 4th grade cheerleading? Now, wasn't some hearts broken because they wouldn't let them on a cheerleading squad?
Oh, sure. But, I mean, at that level, there's a lot of, most of it is skill that's required. And also, they have a certain number of uniforms that the school has funded that they have to fill. So, there's politics when you get down to anything in organizations like this, and you just have to use your best judgment and handle it professionally and go from there.
So basically, it's not 100% solid all looks, right? Is that what you're trying to tell us here? I mean, is it based
No, because I mean, it's like, I'm a hairdresser. You can improve upon anyone's looks with a highlight here or a little mascara there. So, if you've got the body and the fit and the technique and stuff you can't teach that comes from within, then you can always adjust accordingly, if you really want the skill.
If the natural ability is there, you'll work with this person and you'll give them an opportunity to come
sure.
out.
It's part of the industry. It's part of the business.
What if Whoopi Goldberg came?
God
Could you
bless
do
her.
something with Whoopi? Can you fix Whoopi's
I think I could learn a thing or two from Whoopi Goldberg. I don't know. She's made it further than I have at this point.
Okay.
That's the thing, I was just curious how that works, because you put yourself on the spot, you put an ad in the newspaper, you get all these women showing up, and most of the time I see cheerleaders, they're fairly decent looking people, and you wonder, why isn't there anybody that is, I don't even know, ugly might be too harsh, and I apologize if I offended any ugly people out there. I'm not the best looking person around either, but you always see good-looking people in the cheerleading squads, whether it's in junior high school, the Cav girls. Let's talk about the Cavalier girls for we're going to get back into this topic in about 2 minutes. We're going to take another break. We have the beautiful Corinne Charske here. We're talking about if she's going to get any ugly cheerleaders for the Cleveland Browns here at the Cleveland Sports 360 show. Remember, if you're looking for your financial future to be secure, there's no nicer lady. I guarantee you this. You call LG if you don't like this lady. Vicky Manarino over at Raymond James. It doesn't cost you absolute anything to sit down with this lady. You can talk to her. Her goal is to put a plan together that suits your needs. She has no needs, ladies and gentlemen. The only need she has is to help you. It costs you absolutely nothing. Give her a call at Raymond James, 440-516-7550, or you can reach her toll-free, 888-289-7550. We'll be back with Corinne Charske in a few moments, and we're going to be talking Cleveland Browns cheerleaders a little bit more on the Cleveland Sports 360 show. Don't turn that dial, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cleveland Sports 360. Right before we went on a last break, we were talking to Corinne Charske here about what's the possibility of having ugly cheerleaders. And Corinne, you brought up an excellent point about the American Idol even has some less than desirable looking people, and they really sculpture those people quite nicely throughout the competition. So, if you get some less than desirable looking people, I'm sure you'd be able to work with them too, right?
Yeah, like I said, you get a makeup artist, a hairdresser, wardrobe. I mean, obviously, be uniforms. Everybody can be put into that mold at that point. Like with American Idol, if they have the skill set, then you can make them camera friendly.
Well, that's fantastic. I think we got another call coming in. Caller, are you there?
I am.
Hi, how are you? Who do we have?
This is Beth.
Hi, Beth. How are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. You got a real sexy voice there, Beth.
Well, thank you.
Do you have a question or a comment you'd like to make?
Well, I had a comment. You were talking about ugly people.
Well, I was wondering, did you ever see ugly cheerleaders? Yeah.
And truthfully, I think ugly is a harsh word.
Well, that's why I refined it a little bit during the break to less than desirable looking people.
Right. And I think if somebody really wants to be a cheerleader, they might, it takes a certain personality to do that.
Absolutely, I agree.
Beth, did you ever see The Gong Show by any chance?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you ever see The Gong Show by any chance?
I might have seen it a couple times.
They had the unknown comic. He came out with a bag over his head. If you get some really bad-looking people that want to be cheerleaders, we could put bags over their heads and decorate them with some...
I think you're pushing it now.
With some Cleveland Browns gimmicks.
Because it is the personality, and maybe somebody needs a good haircut or they need to use a little mascara, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just took a little bit of issue with the term ugly people.
Well, that's why I rephrased it, Beth, on the break. I came up with this less than desirable looking people. But,
Right.
My point is I have never seen less than desirable looking people on a cheerleading squad, and I guarantee you it breaks their hearts. Some of these people probably want to be cheerleaders. You never seen less than desirable looking people as prom queens either, or you don't see them in beauty contests. Obviously, the word beauty comes into play there. But if their athletic ability would allow them to be cheerleaders, Kenyon brought up an excellent point. What if they could catch a 300-pound girl coming down out of the sky? Would they be cheerleading quality material at that time? You still with us?
I'm thinking of the people out there getting the crowd riled up, shaking pom-poms, showing their athletic ability.
Now, Beth, were you ever a cheerleader?
I was not a cheerleader.
Were you ever in out there on the field cheering on teams in any capacity whatsoever?
Yes, actually, I was a pom-pom girl.
Well, isn't that something? So, what do you think about the need to get cheerleaders for the Cleveland Browns? Do you think it would help?
I think it would help. I don't know that it would boost sales that much, but I'm telling you, I'm the type of person, because I did the halftime stuff, I think it's fun to go and see a halftime show.
So basically the Browns are kind of boring at the halftime when they don't have good cheerleaders to go down and watch. And Corinne, that's one of her things she's working on. Hey, Beth, we're going to have to cut you off right now because we have another caller coming in. Sorry to be rude. And,
Thank you, Beth.
If you could come up with a better term than ugly, please feel free to email me at cs360 at clevelandsports360.com, cs360, and I'll be glad to use that term next time. Okay? Caller, you there? We got a new caller coming in. Anyways, we're back here with Corinne Charske. Corey, what else have you dealt with in the past trying to put a squad of people together?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, you start out, you put an ad in the paper, or you do it on the internet, and you try to pick out the talent that you need. I mean, tell us a little bit more about the picking process or the tryout, the auditions. How does that work?
How does it work? Well, you obviously advertise and choose a date for auditions, and you have those that choose to answer to it come for the audition process. It usually consists of a teaching period where you teach them the routine that they are to perform for their audition. Other parts of auditions are appearance and question and answer, because at this level they'll be dealing with the public, and you want to make sure that they can present themselves professionally and hold a conversation with fans. And I know some squads even make team knowledge and sport knowledge part of that question and answer, so that they know we're talking football.
I think we have another call. Hello, are you there?
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Good. My question is for the young lady. As a Cleveland Browns fan,
or a sports fan in Cleveland, anything, how do we get the ball rolling to get cheerleaders down at Cleveland Browns Stadium? What do we have to do as a fan to help you?
Well, at this point, the biggest thing is definitely get the word out there. I'm an admin on the Cleveland Browns Need Cheerleaders Facebook page. There's also a link for a petition there. But otherwise, just getting in a positive way, getting the word to the Browns administration and let them know that this is something that the fans really want. Because it can also be as we touched on, a moneymaker for the team, the city. We're looking at 2 weeks already of no basketball. The Cavaliers have a cheerleading squad, and they're going to be out of work for a little while. The restaurants downtown are looking at facing a lack of sales because there won't be basketball. So if we implement something new, such as Cleveland Cheerleaders for the Browns, that's one more thing that the fans can look forward to and participate in when other areas of our local economy are suffering, to help bring it back up again.
So basically, if you had a cheerleading squad put together with, let's say, 40 girls or so, or 36 or whatever it may consist of, you could split these into groups, send them out to different restaurants in the neighborhood, and the fans would go there just to have dinner and spend time with these cheerleaders, right?
Exactly. That's exactly something I did a couple weekends ago with the Detroit Pride for the Monday Night Football for the Lions. The girls got together early. They got their uniforms on. We had a limo bus, and we went to a couple of locations for a few minutes at a time just to make appearances and spend some time, take pictures, sell calendars and posters to the fans. And they ended up at what would be their equivalent to our Muni lot, where they performed with a live DJ and chatted with fans, sold their calendars, did their routines. They were so well received that despite the fact that it was all blue and silver there, I could totally see it happening here for Cleveland, and the fans receiving it just as well, and helping to get more even female involvement in the fan base.
Now,
well, how do we get people to walk the Muni lot and stand outside Cleveland Browns Stadium on a Sunday afternoon and push for this? My question for LG and Kenyon also is, who was the big fat guy that got a meeting with Al Lerner?
Which big fat guy are you referring to?
The guy, the Browns fan, the dog fan.
Oh, the dog fan. Big
dog?
Big dog. Yeah, big dog. You know what I would do, and if I was head of this cheerleading committee, some things you have to do, you have to protest a lot of things. And one thing I've seen when I go to the stadium every Sunday before we got the contract with Applebee's, I had season tickets or I use a media credential. I've never seen 1,000 women out there saying, bring Browns cheerleaders there. You do something like that, you start a movement, people are going to start looking at you, and you're going to start waking up the people that write the checkbooks. That's the way that I will go about doing it. You get the fans involved, they'll make it happen. But I've never seen 3 or 4 women outside of the Brown Stadium saying, bring cheerleaders. So I think that would be the first thing that I would do.
That was part of our talk with Al, was if you could put some ladies together and at least start out bringing them up to Applebee's on Sunday when we have the
and
show.
Even if you don't come to Applebee's, put a routine together, perform it every home game. Put 100 women.
Her problem is she's got to foot the bill here. So I guess her problem is she needs some type of sponsorship to get the ball rolling.
Well, that's just the thing. I don't believe the Browns are against the idea. I just don't know that for sure if they know how much the fans want this. So it'd be a matter of just getting the word out there and letting people know that this is a possibility, and just making it bigger as the fans in Cleveland know about it and they want it to happen. And, eventually word's going to get back to the administration, and where it may be number 72 on their priority list right now. As fans, we can help push it to priority 1. So I don't think that the Browns are against this idea. I just don't know that they think it's as important right now. Especially with the lockout having happened over the summer, they're way behind in schedule. So help make the priorities take a new order.
All right, caller, thanks for calling. I think we're going to be wrapping up the show pretty soon. I think we got enough time maybe for another call. If you're still out there, the number to call is 216-672-4300. Corinne Charske is with us. We're talking about bringing some Cleveland Brown cheerleaders in. I like the idea Kenyon have, and I think you and Al really need to sit down and focus on the idea of getting a bunch of women together and getting them down to this stadium. And if I remember hearing from the Detroit Pride lady, I thought they had to do a few things like that once in a while too.
They do it, but as an already organized
we're going to have to wrap this up, but I think we have another call. Hello, caller, you there? Hello? You're on live with LG, Cleveland Sports 360. You there? Sorry, Corey. Go ahead. Finish. I thought we had another call coming in.
No, that's okay. Just with that whole idea that you had mentioned to Al. In retrospect, yeah, it is kind of a good idea, but the whole unorganized unofficiality of it, you really want something solid at the pro level. You don't want to do this, pep band. I don't think it would work in that sense. I think it needs to be a lot more organized and a lot more put together.
Caller, you there?
Hey, LJ, it's Bro. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Not much. Hey, Corey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
That's the big Brew.
Oh, Brewster, what's going on?
Nothing. Sorry for last minute, but Jake, I know it was a football game a little bit ago, so I'm driving home.
Awesome.
Hey, Brew, what do you think of the way the Browns been performing this year? Where's the big problem? Offensive line or what?
Look, man, they're not putting number one weapon in, right? I mean, this is typical Browns football. We got the best guy on the field and on the sideline asking to get in play time. I ain't buying this crap about no hamstring.
I don't buy that hamstring crap either. And if you go to ClevelandSports360.com, you'll see the article LG wrote. Is Hillis really hurt? I don't think so, man. Hey, Brew, you called way too late. I'm sorry you got tied up with football. We want to thank Corey coming down tonight and joining us on the show. Brew, give us a call back next week. We're really getting into some Browns football. Brew, you got to come down and do a show with me. When's that going to happen? Brew, you're gone. We'll get you next time. Hey, we want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Cleveland Sports 360 show tonight. We want to thank Corey, who got lost on her way down here. She made it, though. She's a real trooper.
In a project.
Something tells me that she's going to get this thing together, and the Cleveland Browns will one day have cheerleaders. Any deadline on this? When you hope to get this done by?
We're hoping to have it in the works for next season.
Next season,
keep supporting. Get on the fan page, sign the petition, and just keep a positive support group going, and we'll make it happen. I'm sure of it.
There you hear it, folks. Cleveland Browns could have cheerleaders as soon as next season if enough people get on the bandwagon and get it. Hey, we want to thank Vicky Manarino over at Raymond James, who sponsors the Cleveland Sports 360 show. She stands by every day, waiting to help you with your financial portfolio. If you don't if you don't have one yet, it's time to put one together. Give Vicky a call any day of the week, 9 to 5 at 440-516-7550. Or you can reach your toll-free 888-289-7550. If you haven't checked it out yet, get your butts over to the ClevelandSports360.com website. Read our articles. Leave your own comments. That's what it's all about. Don't log off. We got the 411 and the 216 coming up here at 8 o'clock tonight. Don't forget Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 3 to 5, unsportsmanlike conduct with Kenya Huff, Errol Porter, and our main man behind the board tonight, Kenyon Johnson. Hey, Thursday afternoon you can tune in and see E-Love, I believe it's 2 to 3, on Fired Up. And don't forget, the Courtney G Experience starts at 6 o'clock on Thursday nights. He's a funny guy. He's a professional comedian. He comes down here. He does a show once a week when he's not on the road. Courtney G and Jay Boogie, Thursday nights at 6. We'll see you back here next week at the Cleveland Sports 360 show. Until then, be blessed. Have a good week, people.